11 supersonic sea skimmers break the horizon at Mach 2. 40 seconds later, a U.S. destroyer's AI-guided SM-6 net has knocked down most of them, yet one system fault nearly opens a fatal gap. You clicked for the billion-dollar submarine story, you're in the right place. We'll show you how the carrier group near Roosevelt Roads pivoted from training to survival, how USS John Finn's Aegis triage targets, where USS Gridley's launcher failed, and how a silent U.S. counterstrike erased the shooter in 4 minutes. Stay to see the layer that saved 7,000 sailors, and the one that didn't. You clicked for the submarine, stay for the 40 seconds that decided whether a carrier lives or dies. The drill near Roosevelt Roads flips from calm to contact as 11 sea skimmers pop up on the scopes, riding the seam where wave spray meets air. They hug the surface, eat the horizon, and cut the warning time to bone. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The Aegis combat system on USS John Finn snaps to full fight. Sensors stitch a clean track from dirty radar returns, sort friend from threat, and push a firing plan across the net. You can almost hear the CIC go quiet, one breath, then weapons free.
U.S. officials say the Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier strike group has arrived in Latin America amid heightened tensions between the United States and Venezuela. Washington says its mission is to stop drug trafficking groups. The United States claims that smugglers have links to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The addition of the world's largest warship to an already massive naval buildup is fueling speculation about the Trump administration's true intentions in the region. Maduro denies the accusations and claims that the U.S. military buildup is intended to oust him from power.
Meanwhile, USS Gridley lines up a supporting shot, checks power, checks links, and then a launcher screen freezes. A single fault at the worst second. Sea skimmers at near Mach 2 turn distance into seconds. At that height, the radar horizon is short. By the time you see them, they're already close. Low flight means the returns blend with sea clutter, the wave tops hide the bodies, and every degree of sweep matters. Detection to intercept is a sprint, not a jog. There's no spare move. No second look. So the ship leans on its brain. Aegis with AI support works like a traffic cop and a chess engine. The sensor net forecasts which tracks are on kill paths, tags them by threat weight, and pairs each with an SM-6 Block 1A that can reach, turn, and finish. When a missile jinks or bleeds speed in chop, the plan reshuffles in milliseconds, reallocating shots, updating aim points, and minimizing 2 ships wasting 2 missiles on a target already dead.
Philippine Coast Guard says 2 U.S. Navy warships were deployed off Scarborough Shoal following the collision of Chinese ships in the area. Ariela says U.S. ships were exercising navigational rights and freedoms in the West Philippine Sea in accordance with international law. PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, says USS Higgins and USS Cincinnati were monitored 30 nautical miles away from Scarborough Shoal on Wednesday, August 13.
Now the intercept ladder. Out of the canister, the SM-6 lights and clears the deck fast to make room for the next bird. The missile rides network queues, gets mid-course updates from the ship to trim its path, and then flips to terminal homing. No big blast, no guesswork. Hit to kill matters because a shaped charge warhead at these speeds can still throw fragments and pressure into a hull if you detonate nearby. You need metal on metal. You need the threat removed, not merely wounded. Salvo math is cruel. John Finn commits 17 SM-6, staggered by fractions to build a wall that meets the inbound line almost at once. The first seconds bring clean kills, hard tracks vanishing from scope in quick pairs. 9 threats gone. 2 still racing, not because the crew missed, but because geometry and timing punish even perfect plans. 1 dips behind sea state just long enough to trim engagement time. Another arcs in from a bearing that forces a sharper intercept angle, stretching the last, hardest seconds.
Well, how are tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela rising right now? One way that they're rising, Ike, is that the Venezuelan government is conducting these large-scale militia trainings. They've called up civilians to join the reservists. There are still questions, of course, as I was mentioning, right, about the legality of it and also just the specifics. Where exactly was the boat going? Who exactly was on it? It is important to distinguish, though, is they have designated several cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And so that's some of what they are saying in order to, not further escalate this as an attack.
Then the hole opens. Gridley's launch control hiccup turns a ready SM-2 into dead weight. Guidance module damage locks the missile in its cell, status light stuck, command path closed. The layered net thins right where a leaker angles, and the defense shifts shots to cover, but the margin shrinks. This is why navies drill redundancy into doctrine. You don't hope the second layer fires, you assume the first won't be enough. For crews, this feels like fighting inside a stopwatch. Tracks appear, firing solutions flash green, then red, then green again as the AI revises the plan. Voices stay clipped. Breath tightens. Every launch is a bet that your timing beats the sea, the speed, and the unknowns you can't see over 1,000 yards of chop. Most bets pay. Some don't. The result speaks to both sides of modern defense. Under a minute, the system proves the concept: detect, decide, defeat.
Now, Venezuela is accusing the U.S. Navy of boarding a fishing boat in Venezuelan waters. A statement from the Foreign Ministry says 18 people carrying long-range weapons boarded a tuna fishing boat and occupied it for 8 hours.
Tension is rising in that region as the U.S. bolsters the Caribbean with military. There were 5 F-35 fighter jets that arrived over the weekend.
Now, the official also says the incident happened in international waters and did not last 8 hours. The U.S. official says the crew of the Navy ship received information about the Venezuelan boat carrying drugs, but didn't find any drugs during the search.
But one frozen module shows how thin the shield can be. A single point of failure widens into risk for thousands of lives and billions in hardware. Redundancy isn't comfort. It's survival. The attacker counts on saturation to break the guard. Stack enough darts, slip one through, claim a kill. But then the fight shifts to a layer they can't see. Below the thermal line, where surface search can't reach, the quiet answer starts its own kill chain. For minutes from first splash, that answer ends the exchange and shuts down the launcher that thought it was safe. Layers saved the group. AI-guided air defense caught the storm up top, and a quiet, exact strike from below shut the launcher down. But one stuck missile showed how thin the margin is when seconds and angles rule. If you want hard analysis on tactics that keep crews alive, subscribe. Comment your choice below. Where do you invest next? More interceptors, better fault tolerance, or faster shooters from subs? Next, we trace the 4-minute kill chain from a submerged launch. From launch tube to impact, and the sensor cues that trimmed the search. The calculus shifted overnight, and the method is now the message.